Good afternoon and welcome to our Business Support Showcase. I'm Julie Newland and I'm Pro-Vice Chancellor for Business and International Development here at the University of Hertfordshire. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce this showcase and thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this proves to be a really beneficial session for you all. Here at Herts, it is vital that we are truly connected to our region. And to that end, we work closely with and are supported by our Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership and, of course, the Hertfordshire Chamber of Commerce. We are also very proud to have been awarded the status of a University Enterprise Zone. This recognises and supports our commitment to providing a full range of support for business, an excellent relevant education, accessible skills and training support, and research that delivers innovation and productivity, as well as solving real-life societal challenges. This allows us to really develop bespoke solutions and strategies for all types of businesses, but we are especially keen to work with small and medium-sized businesses. And why? Because in the UK, there are estimated to be 6 million private sector businesses, of which 5.94 million are small businesses with less than 50 employees. That's 99.3% of the total business population. With medium-sized 50 to 250 employees accounting for a further 0.6, small and medium-sized enterprise provides over 3/5 of private sector employment and half of the turnover. This amounts to 60.8 million people employed and a turnover of 2.3 trillion. SMEs are a significant and dynamic contributor to the well-being of UK PLC. And so this afternoon, I am delighted to hand over to 4 of our enterprise and business development team who are going to share with you all the ways that we can play a part in helping you to develop your plans, achieve your aspirations, and overcome your challenges. Our university is committed to ensuring that nothing stands in your way to achieve that sustainability and growth. At the end of this session, we'll take questions, so please add anything you'd like to ask into the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And now over to the team. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Helen Podmore. I'm from the innovation team, and I'm going to be talking about how you can grow your business through research and development projects with the university. This is our team. We're headed by Pete Gooden, and then we have 3 teams within, one of which is the business development with myself, Mike, Julie and Crispa. And we tend to have those initial conversations with the companies as they're coming into the universities to see how we can support you and your business. Then we have the bid team, and they work on responding to tenders, and they also work with companies on things like funding competitions such as the Innovate UK Smart Grants and Agri-Tech Catalyst. And then finally, we have an accounts and operations team with Frankie, Naomi and Nadia, and they work on delivering the projects, making sure that you have regular meetings throughout and answering any questions that you may have during the delivery phase. So what happens when you come to the university? First of all, we'll have an initial meeting with you to understand your business and also your project requirements. You may come to us with an academic that you already know, or you might need us to match you to a suitable academic, and we can help you with that and make sure we find someone who can help you with the project that you've outlined to us. Then you'll typically have a few meetings with that academic to specify exactly what projects you want to do. And our team will think about, at the same time, we'll be thinking about funding routes that we could help you with and guide you through that application process. We also facilitate all of those internal processes such as finance, legal contracts, and if we need to, recruiting suitable associates to help you with the project. And then lastly, we hand you over to our dedicated accounts team to administer the project during delivery and make sure that everything goes smoothly. So there are 3 key ways in which our team can support you. First of all, consultancy with one of the academics from our schools, and they can give you specific expertise to help you with a short-term project, such as any of our schools, such as physics, engineering and computer science, life and medical sciences, health and social care, creative arts, business, humanities, law or education. Just to give you an example, we worked with a company who already knew one of our cybersecurity expert academics in computer science, and they wanted that particular academic to test how vulnerable their systems were to attack. And so they had some conversations and they specified when the work could be done so it wouldn't interrupt their business, their normal working business, and exactly what tests needed to be done. We sorted out all of the paperwork, and then the academic went through and did the piece of work. He reported back to the company to tell them where the weaknesses were in their system. They then and gave them some recommendations, and then they retested afterwards to check that we'd made some improvements. Secondly, if you've come to our campus, you're probably aware of the fantastic facilities that we have and our state-of-the-art laboratories and equipment. And if these aren't being used for our teaching and our research, then they can be available occasionally or on a short-term basis to commercial companies that might want to come in and use them to help them develop new products. An example of this is that we have an aseptic laboratory in our science building, which is used for teaching our students, but it is also sometimes available for commercial hire. And a company came to us and they needed to make their product in a sterile environment. And so we've come to an arrangement with that client in that they can tell us a little bit in advance when they need to come in. We will then set up the lab. They'll come in, they'll make the next batch of their product, and then they'll leave. And so they might do that for half a day at a time on an ad hoc basis. And then finally, I wanted to talk to you about knowledge exchange funding schemes. Now, these are fantastic schemes for companies that need to develop new products and services, but perhaps they don't have that in-house knowledge to be able to do so. The scheme gives you access to one of our academics who knows exactly about that area. And also, we will hire an associate to work with you in your business on that particular project throughout the lifetime of the project. So it's a 3-way partnership between the company, the university, and the associate. We work on a few schemes for this, and they generally give 50% or more of the project costs and last between 2 and 3 years. As an example, we worked with a local Hertfordshire business, and they had a call centre working around collecting debt. And they came to us, and the problem was that some of the calls that they had were very routine, but other calls came in that were complex and required, more focus. But all of the calls were being taken by human agents. And in order to improve the capacity of the call centre, they wanted to see if there were any ways that we could help them to develop an adaptive virtual agent to be able to do this. So we linked them up with academics in the computer science area who developed a project around big data analytics and machine learning. We obviously helped the company to apply for Innovate UK funding, which funded 67% of the project costs. And it was delivered via a knowledge transfer partnership and 4 master's projects. The overall project was graded outstanding by the Innovate UK KTP team. And as you can see there, we had a testimonial from the company to say that a project of this size and level of complexity would usually be very difficult for their company, but the university has provided an invaluable resource equipped to support all facets of the business. And then lastly, just to finish off, as I said previously, we have a fantastic campus that we're very proud of. And we have some other areas that are really useful for things like conferences, seminars, day meetings, product launches, trainings, workshops, team building events. So if you are looking for a larger space, when the pandemic permits, for such events, then please do think of us, because we do have some very nice spaces around the campus and the Fielder Centre. And I'll pass over to Gaurav.
Thank you, Helen, and hello to everyone tuned into this event. I'm very pleased to introduce the Business Services team and whom support the specific provisions that I'll make you aware of during this presentation. We would be more than happy to answer your questions after today, and we welcome any inquiries after today to the team. We are very much an entry point into the university for early stage startups and small SMEs, and play a part in linking businesses from our support into the various teams that you've either heard from Helen and you'll be hearing from shortly. The university's aim is to play a part in supporting businesses from startup to scale up and utilising the various areas of support available across business development, and fosters what we would hope is a lifelong relationship with businesses. As part of the core business services offer, we're able to provide a range of both general and specific business support that meets the needs of businesses. I think it would be fair to say that each business may have its unique challenges, and the university being able to offer access to one-to-one mentoring and consultancy, incubation and accelerator support, access to state-of-the-art co-working space, facilities and more. This is all within an entrepreneurial ecosystem which allows businesses to come together on a common journey of growth. Next slide, please. Our Incubator Program has been running for just over 3 years now and has supported just over 100 small businesses. We have just over 50 businesses at various stages of their journey whom are currently engaged in cohort-led activity that sees like-minded individuals meet regularly to share real insights into their business, to open up about both big and small challenges in a truly trusted environment, and that provides guidance and solutions and a new way of thinking and a way forward for individuals that would otherwise feel isolated in working on their business. The Cohort Sessions play a pivotal role in the university understanding and identifying the business needs. You don't know what you don't know, and having a safe space to unravel things can give you access to specific expertise through our academic, professional and technical support, a trusted business advisor providing guidance yet ensuring accountability that helps your business move forward. We have a close working relationship across business development, as you would expect, and this allows us to identify opportunities for businesses to be supported across different areas, including opportunities with our students through our careers and employment team and various different schools. We have seen many businesses supported through the incubator offering access curricular and non-curricular internships, both fully and part funded. These have provided real benefit to both students and graduates and businesses alike. Businesses not only gaining additional resource to support their development, but also as part of a learning journey, leading a team and possibly employing new people. An innovation team identifying funding opportunities for us for businesses to apply for and being able to support that process. Even live business projects and joint ventures have been formed through the businesses participating in our incubator. Next slide, please. One example of this is Pocket PA, founded by Caroline Seiton, who some of you may have seen earlier today on the panel discussion. Caroline joined us and really embraced the openness and shared some of the most challenging moments of her business with us. This has allowed a support network to really become supportive in a way of creating new opportunities. Pocket PA took part in live business projects with the business school, addressing marketing strategies and adapting her business to move forward. Caroline's also benefited from fully funded internships that have not only been a great help for her business, but have really added value to her business. We've been able to open doors to new networks and contacts that have given Caroline and Pocket PA the opportunity to grow along a common journey for startups. Next slide, please. Alongside our incubator offering, we also have been able to widen the access to a broader business base and provide bespoke support through our University Enterprise Zone offer, currently funded by Research England, but also including as an ongoing accelerator programme for R&D and intensive scale-ups in SMEs, providing businesses access to a full range of support and expertise, including technical and commercial consultancy, research, specialist lab and light manufacturing space. The core area is to support businesses with prototyping and testing, business model evaluations and commercialising strategy support. Next slide, please. The type of businesses generally fit within the digital technology space or addressing this area within their business, IoT and AI, big data. Popular services that businesses have been able to access include our IP and law clinic, market intelligence support, and video and photo production. Next slide, thank you. Last summer saw the university set up and deliver a new business support scheme on behalf of the Hertfordshire Growth Hub and supported by the Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership. The initial reach was to those businesses predominantly affected by COVID. Since its launch, the Volunteer Business Support Scheme has seen over 200 businesses in the region benefit from specific one-to-one mentoring support from over 50 expert mentors across a number of sectors that have been able to provide invaluable support to businesses, not only going through the pains of dealing with COVID, but also looking ahead and developing new ways of thinking about their business. We've seen a number of businesses get press coverage in the region. This support is really, we want to ensure as many SMEs in the region can benefit from this support throughout the rest of the year and ongoing. Next slide, please. And just as an example of that, Tea's Bakery, run by Toyin, a wedding cake business, came to a complete halt when we went into lockdown 1. An award-winning business catering for really extravagant weddings, wedding cakes serving not just hundreds but thousands of wedding guests. That business absolutely came to a grinding halt. And Toyin didn't realise what she needed to do, but getting support through a mentor who had very specific background and experience within her area was able to provide her with a different way of looking at her business, how to innovate. And thankfully, Toyin's business has been able to not just get through COVID, but grow through COVID as well, with a bright future ahead of it. So thank you for listening. As I mentioned at the beginning, we welcome your business, your inquiries going forward. I'm going to pass you on to Rob in the Skills and Apprenticeship team.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rob Dawson. I'm the Senior Sales Manager for the Skills and Apprenticeships team here at the University of Hertfordshire. And I work with this group of wonderful people in the region, supporting businesses of all sizes with their skills and apprenticeships needs. We're part of the Enterprise and Business Development team, and collectively we have a broad experience of higher, further education and also industry. Within the team, we've got 4 distinct functions: sales, accounts and operations, bid and tender management, and administration. And each of those roles has a particular accountability, and you'll encounter us during the life cycle if you choose to work with the University of Hertfordshire. Most inquiries would come in through our administration team before being triaged and then passed over to the sales team, who, like Helen's team, would assess the needs and assign the appropriate support or signpost individual employers to the most appropriate person to help them. As a team, we came together in 2017, really in response to the creation and development evolution of apprenticeships in degree and master's level space. And in 2020, we adopted responsibility for CPD, continuing professional development as well, to broaden that scope that we have for both skills and apprenticeships. Because of that remit, we manage a diverse portfolio, which includes everything from half-day CPD trainings all the way through to full first and master's degrees via apprenticeships. Really, we act as an interface between regional employers and the university, translating what the outside world does into language that the university understands, and translating what we do as a university into language that the world outside of the university understands also. We really work to understand the requirements of an employer, matching their needs to our capabilities, and we've really positioned ourselves as workforce development advisors who provide consultative advice to employers. We currently work with about 170 regional and national employers, already have a large SME footprint, but it's definitely an area, because of some of the things that Julie mentioned at the outset, that we really want to try and increase and are keen to grow. As I just mentioned when I was talking about escalation, everything starts with initial consultation, because it's critical that we build a deep understanding of the requirements that you have as an employer, so that we can signpost you to the most appropriate support. This is really the beginning of our collaborative workforce development partnership, and it will lead to that relationship will lead to you being allocated a designated sales manager from the outset. Our sales managers have a detailed understanding of what the university can offer, both in terms of expertise, capability and resourcing, but we also have a deep understanding of the funding mechanisms and the availability of those to the employers that we support. One of the biggest features for us is offering that apprenticeship guidance, because apprenticeships are a notoriously difficult landscape to navigate, and surrounded by a really complex regulatory framework. So it's important that we are able to offer that advice to employers as we work with them. Because of our role as an interface between the industry and the university, we're well positioned within the region and nationally to work with a wide network of partners and stakeholders. And we've got an ongoing ambition to develop educational innovation through both skills and apprenticeships. We are able to offer support with recruitment and selection if people are looking to recruit into new apprenticeship roles within their organisation. And once we've got partnerships developed and active commitments from employers with the university, accounts and operations team will support them through the post-sales part of the process. Next slide, please. So, I think it's important to acknowledge here that apprenticeships are quite difficult and confusing for most employers, and that would include SMEs, because they're a dynamic and ever-funding world where policy is changing, and there is a myriad of regulatory requirements that need to be understood. The university is continuing to lobby at national level for improvements to these policies, which hopefully will aid and facilitate accessibility for more employers as we move forward. It's also important to recognise that it's far more stable now presently than it has been historically, and through that lobbying we'll continue to seek an evolution towards something that is much more easily accessible for all sizes of employers. There is a real timeliness to this showcase, because I think it shows that we through this accessibility and this drive for accessibility that we're promoting apprenticeships to our strategic regional partners, including SME employers. The apprenticeship focus for the university really came, as I mentioned, in 2017 because of this change of apprenticeship agenda from in terms of government policy, and that's really changed the perception and focus of apprenticeships as we've moved forward. They're a key part of our university strategy, and I think they're pivotal for facilitating employer engagement when it comes to upskilling existing talent, retaining existing talent, and recruiting new talent into roles where skills gaps may exist. We currently support apprenticeships in engineering, leadership and management, healthcare, biomedical science and digital spaces. 15 standards in total, with several specialist pathways within those. And we will continue to drive developments forward, led by the market. So led by what employers are telling us is critical to their evolutionary phases too. Sales managers are working with employers to develop apprenticeship career pathways, which hopefully see those who have an interest in a particular industry or sector able to access an apprenticeship at level 2, so GCSE level, and work all the way through to master's and degree level. Thank you, Sorrel. I have one more point on that. So we at the university, because of the complexity that I've already mentioned, we offer an interprofessional degree apprenticeship team that are dedicated to supporting employers, and they, just like Helen's team, will help employers to navigate all of the difficulties that may be encountered when we look at apprenticeships more broadly. Thank you, Sol. As I mentioned earlier, skills are also a big part of what we do at the university, and we work with all 8 of our university schools to offer continuing professional development of all shapes and sizes. And they can be everything from unregulated CPD through to things that people do because they just want to upskill themselves from a community or hobby perspective. The good thing about CPD is that it's flexible, and we're able to offer it in a very blended way. It's also accessible and competitively priced, so that people can jump into CPD at a time that is both appropriate for them in terms of the capacity to do that learning, but also when they have the funding also to achieve that learning as well. We can, with organisations who have the appetite, co-design and co-deliver certain types of continuing professional development, including accrediting any internal CPD that any organisation has, then that would include SMEs. Because of this, we are able to offer open, closed and bespoke options when it comes to CPD. So open being a course that anybody can access, closed being a course that one particular organisation can access, and bespoke really tapping into that co-design, co-delivery option that I mentioned earlier on, where we're doing something that is very specific for an organisation and could be essentially branded as their own internal CPD. And all of the stuff that I've just mentioned could be credit bearing or non-credit bearing. So with credit bearing, that's counted towards some sort of academic award if you amass enough credits. Non-credit bearing is pure CPD, in that you're learning new skills and knowledge without it necessarily having any alignment with academic qualifications. Next, thank you, Sol. And finally, is the slide really about how and what we've done has had an impact in the region. Obviously, from what I've mentioned previously, we do skills and apprenticeships, and there are 4 case studies here that allude to that. Everything from the social care provider mentioned at the top left, where we're working with them to develop those career apprenticeship pathways in social care, but also looking at accrediting some of their internal CPD, really thinking about how they make themselves self-sufficient as an organisation in this skills field, through to working with risk management consultants who recognise that it's a very competitive market for them in terms of their human resource, and actually they're using CPD and apprenticeships to try to retain that high-performing talent. Some of the subtlety around the work that we do in the skills and apprenticeships team, I think, is really worth mentioning here as well. Peer Networks, top right-hand side, is what was a national networking program for SME leaders, and it really was aiming for growth and future organisational success for those businesses in particular. It was delivered locally by the Growth Hub, and there was a diverse cohort there was a diverse cohort talking about their common business issues and trying to solve their problems by sharing of experience and looking for best practice in their particular fields. Another thing, and similarly to Gaurav's slides earlier, we responded, as you would have expected, to COVID by supporting an accelerator package using a European Regional Development Fund money, which helped us to devise a suite of products aimed at aiding businesses and really looked at targeting their individual needs. These things, the programs that we offered were coaching, marketing, and safe working strategies, and really we're looking to try and help them get through what was a pretty problematic and traumatic experience for them. And hopefully everything that I've just mentioned demonstrates that we have an ability to be responsive to the market and to the needs of the region from a skills and apprenticeships perspective. And our key partnerships with the Growth Hub, Exemplus, the Chamber, Herts Innovation Quarter, and the LEP have really helped us to develop that offer and respond to market and regional demand. Thank you. That's me done. And I will now pass you over to Deborah Evans from the Careers and Employability team.
As advisors, our role is to develop and maintain relationships with employers and to support their recruitment needs alongside those of our service users, our students and graduates. We work centrally within the Careers and Employment team and with designated schools. So if you are looking to recruit students and graduates with a certain skill set, an advisor on the screen will be on hand to help you reach out to them. We have a diverse community of over 25,000 students, including international, studying a range of subjects. The types of opportunities that our students and graduates are looking for, they can range from part-time jobs. These are popular for all of our students, but particularly for our freshers who start in September. Our sandwich placements. Many of our courses enable our students to work in industry for a year. These placements are accredited to their qualification. They're full-time positions and should last for 30 to 48 weeks of the year. The students can generally start between June and September, and there are many benefits to recruiting placement students into the business. They can range from bringing in new ideas, completing projects, flexibility and staff development. Our students are also looking for shorter placements, graduate jobs when leaving, and shorter internships, for which we have some current funding available. We have over 5,000 students that graduate each year, and the Careers and Employment team continue to support our students for up to 4 years after graduation. So how can you access our students? One of the most popular ways to recruit our students is to use our free online jobs platform called Handshake. The platform enables employers to post vacancies, run workshops and events. It's a great way to reach out to our students and graduates, and it raises the employer's profile on campus. Handshake also enables employers to proactively target and message our students, and has an inbuilt applicant tracking system to support a recruitment process. We've also produced a free SME Toolkit that's full of hints and tips, for example, writing job descriptions. There are several ways that we, as employment advisors, can connect you to our students, and these can be seen on screen. Our offer this year, due to COVID, has been virtual, and moving forward, we anticipate a more blended approach that includes virtual and face-to-face interactions. The types of engagement that our employers can attend vary from careers and jobs fairs. These are generally held in October and March. The fairs attract over 1,000 students to our award-winning assessment centre experience, ACE, where employers can participate as assessors. Over 3,000 second-year students are involved in ACE, and it's a great way to meet our students and talent spot. So on to our funding schemes for this summer. For the 9th consecutive year, the University of Hertfordshire is working with Santander Universities UK to deliver the SME Graduate Internship. Our funding is available to recruit our recent graduates, It's hugely beneficial to both the employers and students alike. It can give students some real-life work experience and employers an opportunity to use the skills of our students in their business. The programme is very successful, and many of our internships do go on to become permanent roles. This year, in addition to the Santander scheme, the University of Hertfordshire is also offering an SME Initiative, as can be seen on the screen. And the applications are now open with the following criteria. So to qualify for the funding options, organisations must meet the following criteria. You must employ less than 250 people. You must have a turnover of less than 50 million. The successful applicants must be University of Hertfordshire graduates, and graduates can work virtually or in person. Applications will be via CV and cover letter, and you can hire up to 2 graduates in your organisation using the funding. And we've got just a nice little story here from Chris Unit, who owns a company called One Further, who's actually benefited from the scheme. So I'll leave you a second or two just to read through his testimonial before moving back to Julie with the questions and answers. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Deborah, Rob, Gaurav and Helen. That was really interesting. And hopefully you have an overview of the variety of things that we can do to support you. Before we move into the questions, up on the screen are the ways that you can get in touch with us, and we would really like to hear from you. You can do so by visiting the Enterprise Zone section, or you can email either of those 2 addresses, be at herts.ac.uk or recruit@herts.ac.uk. And as I said, we would really love to hear from you. So looking at the questions that are coming in, we have a question for Rob, I think, really. How do we help SMEs undertake transfer of the levy funds from larger companies? So companies that are paying the levy can transfer these funds into their supply chain so that SMEs can use them. Can you talk a little bit about that, Rob, and how we support that?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that's become fairly commonplace, especially within the last 12 months. One of the biggest sectors that are adopting this levy transfer policy at the moment is also one of our biggest employer groups, and that's the NHS, who are helping through levy transfer to support primary care trusts, so doctor surgeries, pharmacies, the much smaller organisations that feed into their world. So it's become quite the norm for us to manage that, and in essence, it's no different. As long as we have a commitment to levy transfer from an organisation, it's no different to the process that we would follow for setting up a relationship with any employer. So there are some caveats. So as a university, we have a fairly substantial levy pot, but we wouldn't be able to use our levy pot to fund people to do programs at the university, for instance. So that that you can't feather your own nest, as it were. But it's something that we can support any SME through simply helping them to set their digital apprenticeship service account up, helping them to identify the training provider. Hopefully it would be us as a university if we're looking at degree and master's level provision, and then essentially going through the recruitment cycle that we would ordinarily go through with an employer and their apprentice, with the money coming from a third party source.
Thank you, Rob. And Deborah, question for you: what should I think about if I'm thinking of taking on an intern? If I'm a small company, what are the considerations for me when I might not have an HR department, training, so on and so forth? I'm a small company. What are the sorts of things I should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think the first part to that, and that's exactly where employment advisors can support our SMEs as well. The first part of that would be to be thinking about carrying out an induction with these students so that they feel comfortable, especially in a virtual world, if it would be a virtual placement. So think about the induction, the mentoring that the students might be getting while they're on the course. If it's an accredited placement that the student might be doing, they will also have the support of the tutor from the programme, and they'll also have the support of a placement team that sits within the careers and employment team to sort of guide them through the journey, and that also works with the students as well. So it's both students and employers that can benefit from the services within the university to help guide them through a sort of professional placement.
Thanks, Deborah. And Gaurav, I'm not sure if this is one for you or for Helen. If it's from an organisation that are looking to try and expand rapidly, and so looking for finance, looking for strategy advice, what could we do for an organisation like that?
I think there is scope with sort of meet the experts, for example, within our sort of UEZ offer. So there's definitely an opportunity to have a conversation. I think anything like this is worth having a conversation with us for us to understand more about the business needs and identify actually what those clear opportunities are across the various teams, because there could be more than one solution actually to that.
And then the other end of the sphere, what does the university do for somebody thinking of starting up a business?
Good question. I think, we have a lot of companies actually that we're supporting that have started with an idea, and actually along that journey, and it's not been that far into the journey with us, have had to pivot and change. So I think it's always worthwhile coming and talking to us. We do partner with enterprise agencies, with the Chamber, who run complementary support as well, so we can run in parallel to a lot of other support that exists as well.
Okay, thanks, Gaurav. Okay, well, I think that's the questions. I don't know if there's any other anybody else has any questions. Those are the questions that have come up on our chat screen here. Here we are. Can you tell me if I can recruit a graduate if I'm at the pre-revenue stage and in the process of launching? Deborah, that's a good one, isn't it?
Pre-revenue. So if you're in the very early stages of recruitment, I guess, again, it comes down to who's going to be able to support the graduate or the student whilst they're with you in that work environment. Yes, if you're a standalone employer, then you can certainly recruit a graduate. But it is a case of just thinking about who's going to support them through that initial induction, and obviously sort of, through the job itself, basically. So yes is the answer. I
think, Deborah, this is more about somebody that hasn't started taking any money yet. So what kind of checks do we do that the company or organisation is in a position to? I mean, some of this, it's not fully funded, is it? The internship, or is it fully funded?
Two of them are. The Santander ones are fully funded.
Right.
So the short-term ones are fully funded. I think they were the 2 and 4 week that are fully funded.
So actually a pre-startup could be considered if they have the support in place.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
If I just elaborate, we've seen a number of businesses actually have that opportunity. So they're pre-revenue, but they've actually been able to access fully funded interns through Deborah's team to actually initiate that. So yes.
Thank you. Also a question here about, this is more around if you have a technical technical challenge. Somebody is trying to bring something to market, and they have an issue. How might they engage with the university? Helen, that's probably one for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think again it's a case of us coming to us so we can have a conversation about what that technical challenge is, and then we need to identify who at the university can help them with it. Facilitate a meeting. We'd be there as well, so we can see what's arranged, and then yeah, try and move that forward and see if there's any funding schemes that can help as well. What's the extent of the project? Would it just be a very simple, maybe a meet the expert, which is just a few, 7 days of an expertise, which is free with the UEZ scheme, or is it requiring a bit more time than that? Could it be a longer term consultancy, which needs, 3 months, a year? Then we can look at the different funding schemes, and also it's linked to the type of business you are as well. So, what size of business you are, that determines what funding schemes we can go for as well. But we do have a range of different options. So it's definitely worth coming to us so we can see how we can help you.
Okay, thank you. And one for Deborah. How do you apply for the Santander funding scheme?
Yes, so you would need to come through into our email address, which is recruit@herts.ac.uk. And my colleague, Gillian Mackenzie, who manages the funding scheme, will be able to support you.
Thank you.
We'll help you apply.
Thanks very much. And we've got one here, Rob. For an apprenticeship scheme, how would I go about applying for that? And as an SME, what is the funding?
Sorry, I've just lost you. Let me get you back. The funding is, you can get up to 95% of the cost of an apprenticeship paid for through something called the co-funded model. So the government will pick up the 95%. Or up to 95%, and you as the employer would be responsible for 5% of the tuition costs for the duration of the apprenticeship. Obviously, the thing that you have to consider would be that there would be that the cost of employing that person would be something that you wouldn't be able to get any funding for. That would be something that would have to come directly from your organisation. So the levy funding can only be used for the educational aspect of the apprenticeship, but that is a fairly again, almost touching back to the question that you asked me earlier about levy transfer. It's a similar process, just with a slightly different source of that initial funding, so that my team through that initial consultation would be able to advise and support the creation of all of the appropriate and necessary channels to get that up and running. It would just be about identifying a particular apprenticeship, and if you already have them in situ within your organisation, identifying the appropriate person for that apprenticeship themselves.
Is there any size? I mean, how small can an organisation be to take on an apprentice?
I mean, we've got an organisation that employs 6 people that has an apprentice. So we are talking in some situations of micro businesses that are supporting apprenticeships. I think really I think if you've got an appetite to grow and you feel like apprenticeships are a useful or potentially useful way of you recruiting or retaining talent, then it'd be very useful for you to have a conversation with us so that we could talk about the options that could be potentially open for you.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, well, we don't seem to have any other questions in the chat bar at the moment, so I'll leave it a couple of moments, and if there are no others, I think it probably leaves it to me to thank Deborah, Rob, Gaurav and Helen for the presentations this afternoon. Thank everybody for giving the university time to come along. And I know many of you came this morning to the panel chat and questions, and hopefully we've given you a flavour. Please contact us. We really can support you. We have a myriad of experts, from academics in their field to business experts to practical experts in how you can be funded. So thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you a good afternoon. Thank you.